Hello, welcome to the first edition of a new playlist which I've just started called Sentinel News Views. Quite short, 10-minute episodes which I'll occasionally make and I may actually use as the new format for the beginning of Truth Sentinel. And the idea will be to have a look at something like the BBC website or CNN, and I have a quick glance through the news without too much preparation. It'll speed things up for me as well. There's a bird chirping outside. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's kind of putting me off a little bit. Anyway, ignoring the bird, basically it'll be fairly unscripted, well actually completely unscripted, and a little bit ad hoc. Just basically looking through the news. I'll have a quick glance at it first so I kind of know the topics. So I know today's topics, the two that caught my eye were, I just said because that bird is annoying me. The thing that caught my eye was a story about Obama and one about the royals, Prince Andrew in this case. So I'm going to just have a quick look through, quick views and opinions from myself and see what you think. And there won't be much research involved, and this could well be the new format for the beginning of Truth Sentinel. Let me know what you think. I'd like to get some feedback from you as to whether this would be better than what I've previously been doing on Truth Sentinel, which was trying to select news. This is just probably a better way of doing it, faster for me, not scripted. Not that I script too much anyway, I usually just use kind of prompters. But anyway, let's go over and have a look at the websites and I'll continue talking and giving my views. But I'd really like to know your views. So again, there's a voicemail system on our Truth Sentinel website and on our YouTube channels that you can use if you'd like to give your opinions. Okay, here we go. So the first story that caught my eye was this one, Sony cyber attack. North Korea faces new US sanctions. Now, sanctions, it seems to me, usually involve either preventing travel or financial restrictions. And I just feel that there's something more to this story, or it's at least a story of interest, in that Obama's getting involved with North Korea over a movie. Let's have a look at what it's saying. It's saying the White House said the cyber attack was an attempt by North Korea to restrict free expression. Now, I find that curious. I mean, the US government itself is restricting free expression. Let's look at the Bradley Manning issue, the WikiLeaks issue, the Snowden issue. People are trying to reveal and expose stuff, and so free expression when it suits them. And let's read more. The US has imposed sanctions on North Korea regarding this movie. President Obama's signed an executive order again, so he's sort of acting like a dictator again, you could take from this story. So the people named in the sanctions as well I thought were interesting. The Reconnaissance General Bureau, North Korea's primary intelligence organization, also mentioned North Korea's primary arms dealer. Now, what that says to me, because I found out that this is going to be financial restrictions for these guys. So what that tells you is the US are funding North Korea's arms dealers and intelligence organizations and defense research. Because in order to restrict them financially, they must be providing them with money somehow. Doesn't that strike you as interesting? Also, other individuals are mentioned. I'm presuming that these guys are going to be restricted according to their travel. There's one guy of interest that is operating in Syria. White House officials told reporters the move was in response to the Sony hack, but the targets of the sanctions were not directly involved. Another interesting thing, so none of these people are involved, but they're going to put the restrictions on them. It just all seems odd again. We have the news, and I don't think we know half the story of what's going on in the background. Speaking before Christmas, President Obama said the Sony hack was an act of cyber vandalism. Right? Yeah. I mean, I can't take this guy seriously. I really can't. Instead, the sanctions are designed to further isolate North Korea. You can see that line written there, and I think that's what will happen here. And I think the isolation of North Korea has always been a dangerous thing. Some of it could be self-imposed, and some of it is through countries isolating North Korea and not reaching out to them. I think people need to reach out to them or arrest their leader. And I don't think it's healthy for the rest of the world to have this country that wants to be so isolated. At some point, everybody knows there's going to be an incident. Could be a nuclear war, could be a war of some kind, people are going to die. We should either reach out to this country or we should arrest its leader and change this system. I just don't understand why this has been allowed to continue. It's these people. If what we're led to believe is true, that there's no freedoms over there and they all have to pretend they love their leader, this should be illegal internationally. There's an international criminal court. What's it supposed to be there for? We should put an end to this. I think the problem is all of our world leaders would be in this criminal prison. Anyway, so they said North Korea is behind the cyber attack. However, cyber security experts have cast doubt on this, but the US government don't care about what other people think. So it says here basically there's going to be sanctions, and the interview itself, the movie, which I haven't seen, features James Franco and Seth Rogen as two journalists who granted an audience with Mr. Kim, and then the CIA enlists the pair to assassinate him. Now you can understand why that might actually be offensive. Let's imagine there was a movie made by North Korea about two journalists going over to the States and plotting to kill President Obama. How would that be received? Now, it might not be banned, but it would cause extreme reaction from the US government, I believe, and maybe they would accuse North Korea of inciting violence or condoning assassinations. So it's you can understand why North Korea could be upset about this. So it's almost kind of a bit offensive that the US government are getting involved with this when they would react in some way themselves. That's what I wanted to say on that topic. However, I saw something else in the news. Let's look at the next topic. So, the next story that caught my eye was the Prince Andrew sex case claim, which has been denied. Now, people have heard about this story for some time, that Prince Andrew was a former friend of financier Jeffrey Epstein. Whether he's a former friend or still a friend, we don't know. But Buckingham Palace has denied any suggestion of impropriety with underage minors, because Prince Andrew is being accused of engaging in underage sex with a girl. And in fact, in this case, the girl is suggesting that she had no choice. Now, to me, that sounds like rape, actually, doesn't it? If she was forced to have sex, that's what's being said in this article here, that she was forced to have sex with Prince Andrew. The palace, of course, is denying this, as they tend to do. The palace said it would not comment in detail on the legal proceedings. This relates to long-standing, ongoing civil proceedings. Long-standing because these things take time to cover up. It says here the Duke of York is not a party, but sounds to me like he had a bit of a party with this girl, and if he's involved in this and these accusations are serious, then he is part of it. He's party to it for sure. They're not going to comment on the detail, which they should. It's very important. However, they're saying there's no impropriety involved. I like their terminology. Basically, it's saying he's paying a heavy price for his friendship with Jeffrey Epstein. This is typical BBC language, sort of hinting that he's probably innocent, and that he's made a mistake, and it's just a lack of judgment about friendship. Mentions here powerful people, and this is the thing, these are powerful people. They have powerful people looking after them as well. The woman says she was forced to have sexual relations with the prince in London, New York, and in a private Caribbean island owned by Epstein. She claimed she was forced to have sex when she was a minor. Here's a typical BBC response. While accusations are levelled against Prince Andrew, it's important to note he is not party to the proceedings. So this is the BBC giving their sort of suggestions. Prince also strongly denies the allegations, just to make sure people understand. This is the first time they have surfaced publicly. So BBC again just hinting, this guy, we're not saying he's guilty, of course. He would never do such a thing. So I thought it'd be interesting just to see how this develops anyway. Remember, the royals have powerful people protecting them, and powerful organisations such as MI5, the police, Clarence House. So I wouldn't expect too much to happen. That's why this has taken for so long. Anything else that caught my eye in the news? There was one other story about what would happen if all humans disappeared from the planet due to some extinction event. Now, it's a fair question. It's a fair question. Is there an agenda behind it? Maybe not. I'm sure some people just work for the BBC. I'm not entirely sure how it works, whether they're given the title and then asked to make a story about it, or whether that was just the question that somebody came up with. I believe her name's Maddie, and I've written to her on Twitter and asked if she'll come and have a chat with us, because there does seem to be a eugenics agenda with a lot of organisations. The idea that the planet would be better without us, and in her little chat she talks about Chernobyl, and people seem to bring that up a lot, saying basically since humans moved out the area, the animal community has thrived basically, so perhaps the earth is better off without us. But anyway, I looked at her video, and it wasn't too bad. There may not be too much agenda behind it, but it would be nice to talk to Maddie and ask her about this situation. Ask her why she did the article, and also just ask her about the subject itself, because it was quite an interesting subject. Nothing against Maddie. She seems like a really nice lady, and does have a beautiful smile, I have to say. Anyway, I'm going to write to her, as I've said, on Twitter, and see if she'll agree to come and talk to us about this and any other subject to do with animals. Seems to be her topic. I've saw she's got her own YouTube channel as well. So let's see if she'll come and talk to us. That's the end of today's initial analysis, and I wanted to know whether you thought this would be a good way to start Truth Sentinel from now on, doing this kind of quick look at the news. Please let me know on voicemail or in the comments or in the chat room. Love you to give me some feedback. Happy New Year to everyone again. Okay, bye.